What's your name? Where are you from?
Thomas, born and raised San Diego, but I currently reside in Arizona.
Okay. So what are you getting from this I'm a builder game?
So the concept in itself is very general, but ultimately what it comes down to is you can specifically apply it to certain facets of your life. So I look at myself. I've cheated on my wife multiple times. And I know ultimately what you had brought up earlier was if you get a good blowjob at home or things are going great, then you can perform like a motherfucker at within your business or in corporate America, whatever the case. But you do something that's shitty, now you're playing damage control. So for me, the breakthrough, it's really realizing that you're a fucked up individual. And then you're the one that creates that blueprint that really you could be the architect to design your own fucking destiny, house, whatever the case. So, I mean, this is powerful for me.
So on the flip side of being a builder is being a burner.
Correct.
Right? So great builders are also great burners. Right? So the same intensity to burn a marriage to the ground by wandering is the same energy it takes to build a marriage that works and that is on fire. Same energy, the pursuit, the seduction, the energy, the contemplation, the thought process, the psychology, it's all the same. I couldn't see the connection. Right? So my build-burn game just went over and over and over again. Because most individuals in this room, you start as a hustler. Like in business and in money, you start at the ground level, which is hustle. And as Coach Sam laid out, there were two things: give me resource, give me women. Women, resource. Two primal games, paid, laid. You can ignore it, you can pretend, you can make pretend that what you really want is a deep sense of connection to the divine. That's great. I'm sure there's this piece inside of us that does truly connect to this, and I know at some level it does. But the primal nature of being a man in this world are these two things that you have to learn to deal with, and not only deal with, but learn how to divinely build with. Same urge: build, burn, build, burn, build, burn, build, burn, build, burn, build, burn. The crazy part was the reason why I went down the same path you did is because I went down this path because I didn't have the courage to tell the truth to my wife. Which was so crazy when I actually think about it. I built my wife out to be this monstrous, intimidating woman, and I was a victim. Yeah. And that I was one who was suffering. I was the guy who had been picked on. And then inside of that, I behaved as such. And I didn't see the connection that my behavior in relationship was also my behavior in business. Because business is relationship. And so I thought I could tell the truth in business, but would lie at home. This was not true. And I thought for a second that I could lie in business and then tell the truth at home, and that is not true. And so we're coming to this place of becoming a builder, being very aware that on the flip side of that coin, I can burn shit. And there's actually power to burning shit, because sometimes you got to burn shit to get out of where you're at. So it's this catch-22, because burning is not this bad thing. Burning is actually how you get out of fucking problems. This is where you go as a hustler when your back's against the wall and you gotta get paid. You'll figure out a way. How many of you know this is true about you? Raise your hand up. Hands down. How many of you know as a businessman, you actually wait for some fucked up reason to get to a place where things are in dire straits financially before all of a sudden the aggressive builder shows up? Raise your hand. Hands down. How many of you know inside a relationship, you don't tend to pay attention or it's easy to ignore your partner, your spouse, until she starts saying things like divorce or fuck you, and the conversation gets lethal like this could end? Raise your hands if that's been you. So this is not an abnormal conversation for a guy. But up to this point, we've never had anywhere to talk about it, particularly as businessmen. Where are you going to talk about this? Church? If I say anything less than, my God is an awesome God, I'm fucked. I'm like, okay, my God is an awesome God. All right, so here's the deal. I'm really fucked up in my head right now. Is there a scripture for that? I'm sure there is. Okay, I've heard that one 75 times. It's great. But the problem is I don't have a practical way to fucking live this, and singing hymns is not getting me there. I need to be able to have some real talk with real men about some real shit. The trifecta of insanity. It's 3 crazy decisions as men that we make. Trifecta of insanity. 1, you decide to get married. This is number 1. And you have these grandiose ideas. I'm gonna get married. It's gonna be just like the fucking Notebook every morning. I only know about that because I got drugged to that fucking movie while we're dating. I'm pretty sure it's 50 Shades of Grey mixed in on Fridays because I got drugged to that movie too. And then it kind of like doesn't become that. And you're like, what the fuck is this? And the worst is that sex becomes something different than you anticipated. And then you get this idea. You're like, you know what, I got this idea. I'm gonna make things even easier for myself. I'm gonna have some babies. That'll make this a little less complicated. Then you enter stage 2 of the trifecta of insanity, which is you add babies to the mix. How many of you know that when babies started coming in the mix, shit got a little more confusing for you? Raise your hand. Hands down. I mean, we didn't grow it. I love it when guys are like, we had a baby. I was like, motherfucker, you did not push a pumpkin out of your penis. You didn't do shit. You were about a couple minutes, and if you are good in the game, maybe 10, maybe 15. All right, motherfucker, we'll give you 17. But at the end of the day, that's all you put in. You didn't anything. She had to carry that shit, push that baby out, get her body all fucked up. Meanwhile, you're doing crazy shit in your head while she's pregnant. You did it. And then you're doing crazy shit in your head while she's pregnant from the thing that you did. And then you have the third piece. You wake up one day, you watch a motivational video on YouTube. Maybe before the YouTube, you read a book. Imagine that. You read a book. And you got this idea, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna start a fucking business. That'll make things better. I'm gonna do my own shit. And then you enter the vortex of the trifecta of fucking insanity. You got a wife, she's hot, but 98% of her energy's on babies. Dealing with the kids and the craziness. You come rolling back from business, you're like, okay, I smashed some shit today. It is on, just like we used to. It is on. And then the little cock blockers show up. Those little fuckers. All your plans are going out. You're like panicking. You're like, I got nothing. I'm going man cover. Shit, there's 3 of them. I'm going zone. Zone deep. I'm dropping. I got middle thirds. All right, story time. As you start watching, playtime for dad disappearing. Mom's tired, she's going to bed, and then you get a text message from one of your team members about a wire that didn't go through or somebody didn't fucking pay you, and now you're getting angry. But you're laying there and you know you shouldn't have looked at your fucking phone because your daughter's sitting there, she wants you to read about the tales of Tigger and Winnie the Pooh. You're trying to be all focused on Winnie the Pooh, but really you should want to fuck some people up, but then just like 10 minutes ago you wanted to fuck, and now you're like trying to tickle backs and do story time, and you're just fucking confused, and you're like, time out, baby, I'll be right back. You go downstairs real quick, you open up the cabinet, or if you grew up in a place where that's not cool for you, then you go downstairs, you just open up the fridge, you grab a fucking cake. Or if you're trying to be sneaky guy, then you just go down and you take a little pill. Or if you're trying to be super sneaky, you're like, get a gummy bear so you can just tell your kids, well, it's a gummy bear, but in your mind, like, fuck, I better hide these so the kids don't find them. And you have to sedate just to fucking survive. The trifecta of insanity. And then you wake up the next morning, you're like, what the fuck have I gotten myself into? And we buckle it down, suit it up, watch on, rings on. Two things I can control, my fitness and my money. So where you end up at? The gym, working out, and then you go get paid. And then you come home and eventually you just stop figuring out how to even do shit. Which then leads to the cheating, to try to feel connection again. Because at home it's too confusing and there's no fucking roadmap. And so you're like, oh, I just need to focus on the business for a little bit. So then you focus, you're like, I really got to grind. Babe, just 6 more months. How many of you used the 6 more months thing before? Raise your hands up. Where you're like, babe, listen, I know I'm working a lot, but I just need like 6 more months. I don't know where 6 more months came from, but I used it all the time. And then I would work and work and work and work and work, and then I would finally get to some sustainability, but I'd have to come back and deal with what now? The fucking chaos I had just left in the wake that I'd ignored. Trying to push it off while I dealt with the business. Now I got money, I'm coming back thinking I'm gonna get celebrated. Team members are like, new people hired are like, yes. And you're coming home expecting like a parade. Like you're LeBron James, you just won the championship, you're gonna get a fucking parade, they're gonna throw paper. No, you walk in the house and nobody even talks to you. Kids are buried in their phones. Your wife's like, hey, do you know the parent-teacher conference is tomorrow at 3 o'clock? So, you just do what you do. Pound some fucking cake, drink something, smoke something. Highly unlikely you're gonna be fucking anything except for your right hand. So you're like, well, I guess this is just how it is. For my religious guys, you get yourself wrapped up in a cocoon of spirituality. I just need to endure to the end. Some point down the road, the divine powers that will be will magically make my life harmony. Or maybe not. Maybe that was your job. Maybe you were endowed with the gifts to make that happen long before you came into this game. And maybe this all sitting around waiting for someone to throw you a Hail Mary miracle is a bullshit story that you were sold. Have you not actually create and expand, and have you not look into yourself to find the thing, the game where the plan actually began? Which is being able to acknowledge I burn shit and I build shit, and every day it's my choice. What I burn and what I build. And I'm good at both. The question is, can I be great at the balance between burning and building? Can I become holy inside of my hiding and my hype? Can I find truth down that middle? Can I fall back in love with the woman I originally was in love with? Can I redirect my energy and bring revitalization to a business that's fallen apart? Now what are you hearing me say? What are you hearing me say now?
Tell the fucking truth.
Isn't that fucking weird how it all comes back to that one? Like it all just comes back to the same thing. And all strategy builds itself off of there. All the fortune maps you will learn the next 3 days all build off of there. If your foundation is fantasy, if that is the foundation upon which you are building, okay, is fiction. If the foundation that you stand on is fiction, then anything you say you're going to do is fantasy and will not happen. So men come to rooms like this about this time of year. They get really fucking pumped. They talk about how they're going to do some cool shit. Everybody hears that one guy that stands up here on the mic who says he's going to do like $1 billion next year, and the whole room of producers knows that guy didn't make more than 15 grand this year, but he's going to do $1 billion because he's so fucking hypey. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Raise your hand up. Hands down. How many of you been that guy back in the day? How many of you feel like you might have been that guy last week? Okay, this piece of growth requires us to acknowledge that we harness the powers and the balance as builders to build and burn. because death and life are in the balance every day in what we yearn to find and create. It's a war for me in business. Business is my life. Business is one of my purposes. Business is the game. The trifecta of insanity will cause a man to grow at levels that nothing else could possibly do. To be married, to have children, and to run a business is a fucking game of kings. And consider you entered it not by default, but by design. And so when you study tactics to build the business, what you're studying are tactics on how to build you. Now what do you hear me say? Pick the mic back up.
Tell the fucking truth.
And then once we tell the truth, we've got to do something. What do we have to do?
Build some shit.
Move! Oh my God. You guys were so excited. You're like, fuck, I don't know, something. Just don't country club clap. That was a move, and we just did it, which is?
I'm a builder.
I'm a builder. Move!
I'm a builder.
Move!
I'm a builder.
Move!
I'm a builder.
Move!
I'm a builder.
Two clap. Boom. Two clap. Boom. Two clap. Boom. Beautiful share. Throw that back to me. Great job. Okay, so we got to talk about the 4 stages of money. These stages themselves make sense. Gentlemen, bring up my tablet so I can draw some shit up. First stage. All right, here we go. First stage of money. It's very simple. Make money. Bring my tablet up. Make money. You could look at there and you can see my tablet, but you still kind of see my screen. So in a minute, you'll be able to see it. Make money. All right, well, in the back, let me know when or if I'll be able to use my tablet. For now, write that shit down. Make money. This stage is known as the hustler. Write that down. This is my hustler. The hustler is primal in making money. Your hustler is the one that deploys shit quickly. Doesn't ask a lot of questions. It says there's a new marketing strategy I just heard from stage. Your hustler immediately says, I'm gonna deploy some shit. Your hustler is ruthless inside of you and required to build an empire of money. If you ever let him go, if you ever get too far away from him, you will lose control of the kingdom that you built. Your hustler is the king who still comes down off the throne and fucks people up every week. How many know what I'm talking about? Raise your hand. Hands down. How many of you in business have been in a situation where your hustler is a businessman, you moved down the line, which we'll get to, but you got to a place where you became disconnected with the fire that originally started what you built? Raise your hand. Okay, hands down. What happens in this place is that when you lose the fire that originally started, you start to play this weird game of hiding. You actually get scared of your own business. You start to hesitate in moves. You start delegating and defaulting and moving and abdicating shit to your teams that you should be handling. And then you yell at your teams for not handling shit when the truth is you're not leading for shit. How many know what I'm talking about? This game then, stage 1, hustler. He's primal. He has to exist. He is not a problem. But he has a habit. He has a habit. He has some problems and challenges also. His habits are build shit. His other habits are burn shit. Because he gets exhausted. He builds to a certain level and he gets comfortable. And then at that place, he takes his foot off the gas. He's like, fuck, that was exhausting. I'm tired. I deserve a break. And he does, because he's burning out. The hustler becomes addicted to all kinds of shit just to numb the pain of the hustle. All kinds of drugs, alcohol, habits, and patterns. But the hustler is crucial because he doesn't need a lot of details. What he will do is just build shit. It doesn't matter what direction. He'll fight people emotionally, physically. He'll go to war with people online, in person. He'll fight for what's right in your world. But this guy also has a battery life. He'll only build to a certain point, then he burns out, and then he burns everything. He will build, and he will burn. The hustler only finds purpose in the build to abundance. Write that down. The hustler only finds purpose in the build to abundance. Once the hustler is comfortable in abundance, he will take his foot off the gas and he will let it burn back to scarcity. He'll go from comfortable to back to very uncomfortable. The hustler gets a high off of this. This piece of you gets a high off of building shit to a certain place and then taking your foot off the gas or getting bored. And a hustler who gets bored just starts deliberately torching aspects of the kingdom just to see what the fuck will happen. It's in a marriage where things are going well and the hustler knows there's a higher piece in you that's like, don't say it, bro. Don't say it. Oh, fuck, you said it. Marriage is going well. You're getting everything that you want. It's working well, but somehow this hustler stage in you doesn't know how to deal with well. So this hustler in you begins to burn shit back down to this place of scarcity where you feel comfortable. You feel comfortable between not enough and barely enough. Not enough and barely enough. I'll build to barely enough, and then when I'm there, I'm going to settle in a little bit. I'm going to party. I'm going to relax. I deserve it. And repeat this cycle over and over and over and over. The hustler has a new idea every 6-7 months. New business about every 12. New opportunity. Oh shit, now I'm into cryptocurrency. Yeah, but last week weren't you a realtor? Yes, but that is old news. Yeah, but before that, weren't you like in network marketing? Yes, but that protein shit is no good. Real estate was, then I decided the rates were going up, so I went to crypto because that's probably easy. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Raise your hand. This aspect of you, though, is also very powerful. Because this aspect of you will take an idea and just fucking go. You need him, you must have him. But if that is the only gear or the only weapon you have, you are in trouble. Because your knife in a knife fight works well. But your knife, when you're being snipered from 600 meters, doesn't fucking do you any good. You gonna throw it that far? You better just cut your own throat. And that's what most hustlers do when they try to compete with snipers. They run around like crazy, and the big business guys are sitting up on a hill going, you dumb motherfucker. Look at him. Check this fucker out. Look at him. On the goddamn Facebook Live again. Look at him. Another opportunity. Fucking idiot. How many know what I'm talking about? Raise your hand. Okay, to your war map. You're writing. You got 2 minutes. Where in your world has your hustler been fucking you up? And where has he been helping you? Let's go. Write it. You got 2 minutes. Off you go.
The miracle will happen. It might not happen the first time you open it. It might not happen the second time you open it. But I promise you this, at some point this will fucking click and your life will be unrecognizable.
I became a different man. I don't compromise. I don't negotiate. have this clarity and certainty of where I'm going, and I don't negotiate with anyone.
You can't put a dollar figure on that. And this right here is all the work, all the effort of all the men that have come before me in the palm of your hands. It's an opportunity for you to change your own life and change the lives of those that are around you.
And even in the start, I started to change. There's been a lot of work. I've done a fuck ton of work. I devoured the content once I got it. I studied, I worked, I made it my priority because there was nothing I was going to do that was going to help the rest around me, to be, I didn't know how to be a better father. I didn't know how to be a better husband.
My relationship with my wife is on its peak. For that, I'm very grateful. My business has exploded, and that is because this concept of warrior is growing from the inside out.
And I just would say, why wouldn't you do it? Why wouldn't you take that chance? Why wouldn't you find enough value in yourself to make this decision, become part of a movement, a brotherhood? It's the best thing I've ever done.
It's too hard to do it by yourself. And I don't choose to do it by myself anymore, and now I don't have to.
The results came. I changed. I found my way out.
Wouldn't have mattered what that cost would have been, because I knew there was no price I could put on leveling up. There was no price I could put on my family and my kids and my wife and becoming a better version of myself. There's no price tag. There's no price.
And the best news is in the decision, the change begins. If you decide, your life has already changed in that one decision, in that 1 second.